can be a bit of an email overkill. So can you guys see this? This is a leave wheel. So what I like about it is I can put in the time, move it around to see when someone's coming back from an FMLA or even a workers' comp leave. So to be real with y'all, is that the magazine was like an oversized magazine, so it was big. And what I hate about it is I always had to like flip it in half because it was just way too big. They're gonna have a situation or a question that you're gonna go, complete blank for. How do I do this? Where do I go? What's the first step?
We don't have a policy. It's not in our handbook.
You don't want to get caught, like the old folks say, with your pants down, right? No, I feel like this one is such a gimme, y'all. This one is just so easy. Come on now. And I'm gonna tell y'all, let me just clear this up real quick before we get too deep into this. Hey y'all, this is Tamika, the face behind Heyyy HR. Hey, listen, guys, I know that folks want to know, where can I get resources that help me in my everyday life working in HR? If you want to know 10 great resources you should always keep in your front pocket, then definitely keep watching. Now, some people think that they only need these resources so that they can continue learning, continue getting SHRM credits, and continue just adding on to their portfolio or their HR career, what have you. No, there's going to be times when someone's going to walk through your door. They're going to have a situation or a question that you're going to go, complete blank for. You don't want to get caught, like the old folks say, with your pants down, right? So what you want to do is make sure that you have resources where you can get the answers. I've been working in HR for 10 years, and I'm telling y'all, when you change industries or you change leaders or you change the organization, you do something that's not in your everyday, you bound to run into something where you're like, how do I do this? Where do I go? What's the first step?
We don't have a policy. It's not in our handbook.
Where do I get the answers?
It's gonna be easy, guys, because I'm giving you resources right here to help you navigate it. So the first resources, and I'm gonna tell y'all, let me just clear this up real quick before we get too deep into this. I want y'all to know that these are not in order. I literally jot these down as they came to my mind, or as I got an email, or as I continue to work every day, or as I continue to see an alert on my phone.
Then I realized, you know what? This is a good resource.
So I want y'all to know, don't put these resources in order, because depending on your industry, depending on your role, some resources are going to be better than others. Depending on your time, depending on your budget, some resources are going to be better than others. So I want you to definitely go through these resources and find ones that work for you. So I've said this in a previous video where I told you how to get recertification credits, and if you have not watched that video, I need you to make sure you watch it, because these recertification credits aren't for those just who are certified. It's for those folks who need answers in their everyday walk in their career. So definitely check out this video, or I'll have it at the end for you so that you guys can watch this video right after this one. Make sure that you look at those resources, because those are ones that I diligently use. I diligently use these ones too, but I cater according to my industry and according to my need. So the first thing that you want to do is find your local employment law offices. They always do different series where they're trying to make sure to educate HR professionals. For them, it is education. But why would they want to educate you? At the end of the day, if they educate you, then you won't need their service. It's because everybody's trying to do this marketing thing where they are a one-stop shop for everyone. And so law offices realize that the way that they can get new clients is if they provide resources to the clients that they potentially need, their niche, their audience, what have you. And that audience is HR professionals who need these employment law offices, except different businesses. And who are the point of contact for those? HR professionals. So I am a big advocate of Nexsen Pruet. They are here regionally in North and South Carolina. They do breakfast briefings, they do webinars, they give you digital briefings, and what they do is they tell you about cases that are real, ones that they just had, ones that they closed. They don't hide information, so they tell you the company's name. I mean, they tell you exactly what the situation was. They tell you how the litigation started. They tell you what the payout was, and it is alarming. It is alarming. I love Nexsen Pruet. There are quite a few others, and I'll definitely put them in the description box below because there are quite a few others. That just seems to be my go-to because they really fill in everything that I need. There's another one that I use, and that one is called Fisher and Phillips. Can you guys see this? This is a leave wheel. I've had this leave wheel for years. So let's see, is it? Yeah. So what I like about it is I can put in the time, move it around to see when someone's coming back from an FMLA or even a workers' comp leave. So I like this because there are quite a few of them that give you resources. There's another one that I absolutely love, and it's called Ogletree Deakins. So Ogletree Deakins gives a lot of information as well. They give a lot of handouts too. They give employment law books so that you can have the most recent law information at your fingertips. If you're a person like me that like writing, highlighting, putting bookmarks in, putting tabs in, and being able to have something physically in your hand, then they are a great resource. All of them are doing digital sources. All of them are doing webinars. But those are like my top 3 employment law offices. And those are primarily because I've always worked in South Carolina. But you definitely want to hit up your local employment law office for resources. Another great resource that I highly suggest is your industry associations. So when I worked in local government, I primarily used the Municipal Association of South Carolina. When I worked in organ donation, I primarily used AOPA, the Association for Organ Procurement Organizations. And now that I work in hospitality, I'm going to try to use Vacation Rental Management Association. But I will tell you that there's always an association that is niched down to your industry. And what it does is it's not catered just to HR professionals. It gives a resource for everyone that could potentially be working in that industry. And I think that that is awesome. So there are times that I went to AOPO conferences, I went to Municipal Association conferences, and when I get there, I see the finance folks are there. I may see the operations folks are there. In organ donation, I may have seen the organ team there. I may see the tissue team there. When I worked in local government, I might see finance as well. I might see the police department. I did like that both of those conferences and both of those associations, one, they had what you call a listserv. So you can come up with any situation that pops up in the day. And you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Maybe a good example. I think this is just a great example because this is always the most convoluted. And that example is if you have someone that is out on workers' comp, and that leave turns into FMLA or vice versa. We get so confused. Like, when does it go to FMLA? When does it go to workers' comp? When do we make them use PTO? When do we pay part of their salary? Like, it could get so confusing. And what I like is with the listserv, you can just toss your question out in an email, or particularly what they'll do is you can put it in a chat room and it goes out to everyone that's in the association by email. And those people can give you examples, give you answers, give you their templates for their policies. There have been times that I've seen folks ask for, hey, what's your organizational chart looks like? Hey, what are your salaries for these positions? Hey, what's your job description for these positions? I absolutely love these listservs because they're just full of a wealth of information. And at the end of the day, I don't feel like a loner. When I see all these questions come in, especially when I know the answer to them, I'm like,
so I'm not the only one that goes for a blank.
Or I'm not the only one that doesn't have all the answers. And so it really makes me feel so comfortable because when I put out my question and I get the answers back, not only do I feel like I have a network of folks that are helping me, but I also don't feel like, Mika, you lost it. You know? So another great example that I like to use is your human resources information system. I don't know if that could be so many different options because there's so many companies that have popped up over the years that are offering these software services to hold all of your employee information. Now, real quick, before I dive into why that's a great resource, let me tell you guys that I have a video that's coming up that's going to give you a comparison of different human resources information systems. HRIS is what they like to call it. So I'm going to definitely tell you some of the great ones to use because you definitely have some differences there. And if you're out here looking for a software to use, looking for a database to use, for your applicant tracking, for your performance management, for your payroll processing, things of that nature, and you want to use it in one robust system, definitely subscribe, hit the alerts, and make sure that you keep your eyes open because I'm doing a video that's going to compare them. And it's probably going to be a bit of a series because there's just so many different options. So definitely, if you want to know about that, make sure you stay tuned. But what I will say is that I always think that my human resources information system should be a one-stop shop for me. If you guys have ever shopped for these systems, you would know that these systems are expensive. You can pay anywhere from $20,000, $30,000 for one system, and that's only a yearly fee. Then they might charge you a fee to actually set your system up, another fee to get your processes for your payroll and to get all of that information uploaded. But this is a great resource because a lot of these systems know that they're costing you so much money that they want to be your one-stop shop. So what they're doing is saying, okay, I'm not just going to offer a database, and I'm not only going to offer webinars to teach you how to use my software, but I'm also going to give you updated law information. So they'll give updated law information on a regular basis whenever a federal law changes. A lot of times they will give you hints and tips on how to process all of those annual reports that you hate doing, like your EEOC reporting, your ACA reporting. A lot of these systems will automatically give you a go-to. They'll give you a hands-on contact person. I absolutely love my human resources information systems. So I have used Paycom for quite a bit of the time. Most recently, I'm currently using Bamboo HR. I've also used a system called Encode, which is so particular to local governments. I have also demoed quite a few systems. So I've demoed Paychex. I've used Paychex. Not a big fan of it. It hasn't been one that gives a ton of resources, particularly for continuing education. But Paychex is another one. ADP has really ramped up their system. ADP has been out for a long time. And they know that there are a lot of new competitors that's coming up. So they are offering tons of resources. What I want you to do is when you set up and you get started with this company, make sure that you get set up for their email alert so that they can give you all of the updates on the most recent law changes. So instead of sitting here and constantly burying yourself into how do I get updates on these things when it affects my employees or it affects my system or it affects my processes, then you just look out for those emails. Most times they have catchy subjects. Most times they have tons of links. Most times they have a guide that you can download and save as a PDF file. They're just absolutely amazing. So I will tell you that your human resources information system is a great resource so that you don't feel like you're out of touch with continuing to know the information you need to know for your everyday career moves. Now, y'all, I already know that I'm about to give you one that y'all probably are going to say,
Mine isn't a good resource.
if yours isn't a good resource, you need to look at changing, because you should be able to always use your benefits broker. Your benefits broker should be giving you not only updated webinars on different things that's medically related, also they should be helping you with those processing of those annoying reports like your ACA reporting, your EEOC reporting. A lot of times they're also going to tell you what's competitive in the industry. They're going to tell you upcoming medical changes that may affect your employees, your payroll, your taxes. They should also be able to give you webinars that's going to give you SHRM and HRCI credits. I mean, they should just be a wealth of knowledge. And anytime you run into a jam, particularly about benefits, and you're a little confused, you should be able to reach out to them. Let's say your team is growing and you end up with more human resources professionals in your organization. These brokers have so many clients that they have built tons of relationships. They know when somebody's left for one reason or another. A lot of times HR professionals will reach out to them and say, hey, do you know about any company that's hiring? Now, another great resource should be HR.com. Sounds way too easy to even think for a second. You won't forget. HR.com is a great resource. They send so many emails that sometimes I have to go in and change my settings for my subscription because I'm like, it's email overload. But the emails are always catered at what I need to know. They have provided so many different checklists, so many different webinars. I mean, things that I know is on the horizon that I need to worry about. And then for a second, I just might not worry about it. So a lot of people already put in their COVID protocols or their policies or what have you, right? But now this Delta variant comes up and it has a little bit of like different things that we really aren't looking for, really didn't prepare for. Guess what? HR.com has been sending quite a few webinar requests and emails to let you know how those changes are affecting HR professionals. What I also like about them is that their webinars give you credits, right? So So on top of getting credits, which I've already talked about in my previous video, they also give you law updates. So if you just want a snippet of what's going on and what's coming new, or what you should be negotiating for in your benefits negotiation, HR.com provides that information. Now, when I first was introduced to HR.com, it was a super long time ago in the beginning of my career, and what they were doing was sending out magazines. So you can get an HR.com subscription. And I really liked it because it really helped me to kind of have a go-to. So I'm a person that likes journaling. I like having an agenda. I like making sure that I'm writing notes down in a notebook all the time. And one great thing I like about it is I can snip out a little piece and put it into my notebook as a reference, or put it into a binder if I want to make sure I have a binder on hand. I know that everything is going into electronic, and that's super helpful. But one thing that truly has helped me propel in my career is being able to just grab that binder and flip right to that page and have that information there. I don't have to think about, well, what website did I see this on? Or where is that PDF again? Sometimes I'll just save it to a flash drive and I can pull it right up. So I absolutely love having a magazine, because that magazine idea was really good. The only thing I didn't like about the magazine, to be real with y'all, is that the magazine was like an oversized magazine, so it was big. So if I wanted to carry it around, which I would carry the magazines with me, like let's say if I'm taking a trip and I'm getting on a plane, okay, then I may carry it as my reading material on the plane. Let's say I have to go to the DMV or something, I'm in line for a long time, then I take it then. And what I hate about it is I always had to like flip it in half because it was just way too big. But beyond that, HR.com is a really good resource. Now, another good resource that I absolutely love is HR Newswatch. And this one is kind of new to me. I started getting it on my emails. I think that the director before me, she used to get these email alerts, and I like them. The only thing I don't like about them is I feel like every webinar they're offering is offered at a cost that I feel is a bit inflated. So I'm not a big fan of like, okay, if I need to watch a webinar, you're going to charge me $300 every time I watch a webinar. I can use that money in recruiting. I can use that money in giving back to employees. I can use that money in saving on benefits. I'm just not excited about like giving you money just to watch you online, especially because they're webinars. Like, they're absolutely free. And there's just so many other resources to use, so it just doesn't make sense to me. So I'm not excited about that. But one thing I was excited about with HR Newswatch is that they were offering comprehensive trainings, and these comprehensive trainings were geared at particular positions. So they offered one for HR Generalist, and I thought that it was just such a great comprehensive training when I looked at the outline that was being provided. The only thing I did not like about it is that this comprehensive training, though it went over 2 or 3 days, it was at like $2,000, and I just thought, that's crazy insane. I'm pretty sure they're giving some certification credits. I'm not sure. When I saw the price tag and I thought it was for generalists, I wasn't super excited, but I thought, what a great resource. And if you really want to look at an opportunity to develop your HR generalist just a little bit more, get them a little bit more clean around the edges, this is a super great resource. I wouldn't say that this is a go-to in case someone pops in with a last minute question. You're like, what the hell is going on? But I would say that it's always nice to know that you can sit amongst your peers, because you can hear kind of what other people's questions are. You can see if you're really out of touch or if you really just falling behind a little bit. It's just, I think that webinars like HR Newswatch is really awesome. Now, they also send emails, and those emails have great titles and great subtitles that are pointed directly at information that's going in HR news today. Always a great headliner that's keeping you focused on either what's going on in the moment or future steps. So it is a great resource if you're like, hey, I just need to make sure that I'm looking out and reaching out to something that is something I can truly say is a lucrative resource. You don't want to go for like Wikipedia, right? Because you know that that's not a real viable resource, that you can't really guarantee that the information is factual. So HR Newswatch has hit the list of 10 for one that you can use too. Now, since we on the list of HR.com, HR Newswatch, then another one that I have for you is HR Resources Today. They're oldie but a goodie. So I will tell you that I believe that they used to give out a magazine too, and I got that magazine years ago with HR.com too. And I really like it because it allows you an opportunity to kind of compare magazines to see which ones are trending the best topics. So that's something I used to do when I had like HR.com, HR Today, as well as the SHRM magazine. So I knew that the SHRM magazine, I had confidence that the SHRM magazine was always giving me something that was most current. If you get the SHRM magazine, then you know that it's always like, it's like a real magazine. It's not like a dump all information like HR.com or HR Today. What SHRM does is it focuses on whatever is on the cover. So whatever you have on that cover, you're probably going to see a whole lot of it, and you're going to see a long layout all about it, right? Which is great because the topics are always amazing. And I will tell you that I've just collected those magazines over the years, and I try to stay more focused on the ones that I think is going to help me going on in my career. Sometimes I just flip to a page that I actually want to see for the moment, and then I just kind of tune in on it and compare it to something like HR.com, HR Newswatch. So I absolutely love that I can just compare those three on a regular basis. But I will tell you, nothing beats knowing that HR resources today, just like HR.com and so many of the others, are giving you information that either they've pulled across HR professionals or a specific industry, or pulled from a federal resource. I mean, their information is just good. Like, it's solid information. You don't have to worry about, like, how true is this? How the validity is always there. So I think that's a great resource. They also send you emails as well. So definitely sign up for their email subscription. They're a little bit like the others. So HR Resources said today, HR.com, HR Newswatch, they can be a bit of an email overkill. So just pay attention to your subscriptions and make sure that you're only collecting the ones you want, because when you initially signed up, they will give you every single one. So you'll be sitting at your office and have like 10 emails a day, and it's just too much. You don't want to do information overload where you can't pause to retain the information or pause to make sure that you give that information some attention. So definitely make sure that you cater those subscriptions so that you can get the information that pertains to you. Now, another good resource is one that I probably shouldn't even have on the list. Salary.com. Guys, yeah, I will tell you, I'm not a big fan of totally holding that as my only resource. So I always compare Salary.com with the Department of Labor's website, because I know that Department of Labor is like factual information that came from real places. Salary.com can be a bit manipulated. So Salary.com does pull its information from past employees or current employees, and we all know that if an employee gets really upset with the company, sometimes they will put the salary really low so that other folks won't be attracted to the job and things like that. But they do different surveys where they're getting constant factual information. So I really think that Salary.com is a great resource. At the end of the day, what I do like about Salary.com is that it does give you kind of a view of the company's culture. Again, sometimes you have an employee that's super upset with the company and they might not give the best information. Sometimes you have anonymous people and you can get pretty transparent information there. But you can always look at the trend with those comments to try to see, well, which ones sound pretty much alike, which ones have different names, what time or date were they posted. So if they're posted over time, then it's probably giving you some pretty factual information. Now, I don't like the fact that Salary.com only focuses on salaries. So I do like something that can give me like law updates so I can stay compliant, or benefits updates so I can be offering the best benefits. Salary.com does stay focused literally on salaries. But it is a great resource to have in your hands, because if you ever get into that crunch where you're working for that organization that might not have a salary chart, which honestly shouldn't be very many of them out there. But I will tell you that if you run into that, you can kind of jump there to get an idea. I mean, another place you can jump to is places like Indeed and see what the salaries are that are being posted for that job at the moment, because obviously they're trying to get candidates, so they're giving right information. But Salary.com is a great resource. It's just not one I would tell you to necessarily put at the top of your list. Another great resource is Glassdoor. So I like Glassdoor, y'all. I know that some folks feel like,
Well, is Glassdoor still relevant?
It is. And what Glassdoor has done, they've ramped up their stuff. So they are a little annoying because they really are kind of focused only at salaries and culture. But one thing I absolutely love about Glassdoor, they have now catered their site where they are truly focusing on not just getting the employee perspective, but also the employer. And so I reached out to them to post some jobs at one point in time. That was kind of pricey, and it was kind of an easy pick between them and a couple others that I was looking at the time. But Glassdoor really surprised me and impressed me with the amount of information that they have, the amount of resources that they use to pull their information, and just how much they're now trying to cater to not just being employee focused, but also employer focused. Now, one thing I don't like about Glassdoor is you're probably not going to get that compliance information that you want updated. But if you are heavy in recruiting, which we all are because COVID has really put a cramp in the recruiting, I will tell you that Glassdoor is good about showing you comparisons with other organizations, kind of what their job postings are looking like, what the salary is in your industry, kind of ways to cater your job posting so that folks are attracted to it, ways to kind of get your information out there to a whole broad spectrum of folks. So it may not be your greatest resource for compliance or questions to ask in the moment when someone walks into something that you're not really familiar with, but it is a great resource for culture information and salary information. No, I feel like this one is such a gimme, y'all. This one is just so easy. YouTube. Where y'all at right now getting this information? Come on now. You in some place where you're looking for HR information. You're looking for your go-to. You're looking for comparisons. You're looking for answers to so many questions, right? YouTube. So y'all, obviously I'm a little jaded, but I will tell you that I love YouTube because not only does it give me law information and compliance information, because there's so many attorneys' offices that have YouTube channels now. There's so many staffing agencies that have YouTube channels. There's so many companies that have YouTube channels. They're all promoting for themselves. So at the end of the day, they're giving you valid information. Most of them give you links in the description box that help you out on a regular basis. But one thing that I absolutely love about YouTube is that it is evergreen information. So you never have to worry about if it's going to disappear. It's always there. It's always valid. And one thing that I also love is that there are just so many different options. Like you have even HRIS systems that have YouTube channels. So you're hearing directly from them. You can even put a comment in the bottom of their videos to get direct answers because most times they have marketing folks that are constantly paying attention to it. So yeah, YouTube's probably not going to send you that email. It's probably not going to give you that magazine. It's probably not going to be able to answer a super catered question. But one thing I love about it is if you go to YouTube channels and you see a video and that video might not be hitting on the topic you're looking for, then guess what? Somebody's going to have questions down there. There's going to be tons of questions. So now you can use this as an opportunity to network with others. You can also use this as an opportunity to say, hey, you know, can you do a video on this and get someone else to do all the research and all you got to do is watch it. So I think that YouTube is such a great resource that you should keep at your fingertips to help you with the everyday HR questions and troubles that you experience in your job. Y'all, I am so happy that y'all made it this far. If you've made it this far, then in the comments say, Tamika, you will get 1,000 subscribers. That'll tell me you watch it all the way to the end. But anyhow, I'm here now to 800, and I just thank you guys so much for watching, so much for subscribing, so much for tuning in, so much for commenting. I just appreciate your support. If you have any video suggestions or anything that you're like, Tamika, I want you to get this information for me because I'm lost on where to get it, then definitely comment below. I just can't wait to see you guys on the next video.